3 weeks ago, I was laid off from my tech job, and it was a place that I thought I was going to be for a while. I am in Puerto Rico right now with my boyfriend. I was building a life that I love. We're about to move back to the States, and then suddenly all of that came to a halt. And I found myself having to ask the question at almost 34 years old that I never thought I would, which is, what now? So this video is about what it looks like to sort of start to rebuild your life after everything has come crashing down a little bit. I have been in the tech world for about 10 years now, roughly. Started out as a junior growth account executive and was recently a product manager for web. So I worked really closely with software engineers, etc. Sort of a very cross-functional role because I'm touching marketing and branding and engineering, all of the things, and my ownership was sort of web. So I was challenged by the work that I was doing. I was happy with the people that I worked with on a daily basis, and it kind of was a surprise. As I think most people can relate to, I think when you get laid off, it's not anything you maybe foresaw or thought was coming, especially maybe for your particular role, whatever it is. But they did a reorganization and a restructure. We had some new leaders come in. They sort of revamped things a little bit, and my role sadly was done away with. So within the span of honestly a 10-minute call, I would say less than 10 minutes, I went from an extremely packed calendar, planning out the roadmap for the remainder of the year, to essentially nothing. And I had no idea what to do with myself. And what kind of hit the hardest was I had been wanting to sort of leave for a little while. I wanted to give myself sort of a sabbatical, if you will, a little bit of a break, but I actually wasn't planning on doing that till maybe January or February of next year. And you know, the timing is what it is. You kind of have to deal with it as it comes, but I was already kind of wanting a break, kind of wanting to take some time off, and I was somewhat relieved, but I also was like, oh, this is what do I do? You know, what do I do with myself? And so I think that sort of identity crisis kicks in right afterwards. And then, to be honest, the hardest part for me personally was getting messages from people at work, because I still had my access to my computer and everything through the entire day. So till about 8 p.m. Puerto Rico time, I still had access to my computer. I still was getting Slack messages. People were just shocked, surprised, I was getting messages about, how much people enjoyed working with me, et cetera, and that was, I think, the hardest part. So I'm not a big crier. I don't get overly emotional, but hearing what people had to say about working with me I was there for almost 4 years. So hearing what some people had to say just really, it was a very emotional day because of that in particular. Not really because I lost my job, but more so the people I was having to leave behind, the work that I was proud of. I had to sort of leave it and lay it all on the table. And so I think that hit the hardest. And then I've just always been the type of person that figures it out. I'll have a plan, I'll land on my feet, I'll move forward no matter what. I never sort of try and stay back or, look in the past or anything like that. But for the first time in a really long time, I sort of froze a little bit, because I was just part of my identity had been so wrapped up into this job and this career that I had created for myself over the last 10 years. And I didn't know what the future held. My layoff actually came at a really interesting time. So it was right before 4th of July, and the company was about to do a week shutdown for the 4th of July. And my boyfriend and I had plans to fly up to Florida and spend the week with family, hanging out with them and just sort of decompressing a little bit. It's something he and I both were looking forward to for a really long time. We just had this sort of countdown going as to like when we're gonna go to Florida and hang out and just sort of vacation a little bit. And so it happened the Thursday before we were supposed to fly out that Friday. And so I thought, wow, the timing is interesting, you know, like right before vacation, right before I'm about to see all my family, his family was coming, like it was a whole thing. But it's like, it is what it is, you know, what are you supposed to do? And so I took a moment, and my boyfriend gave me some good advice. He was like, I think you should just decompress for real and come down from the fact that, you know, you just got laid off, et cetera, et cetera. Work was also really crazy at the time. And so I was starting to get a little bit of burnout going, and I was starting to be very tired. My days were really long. And so it kind of ended up being a blessing in disguise. Like, just when I'm looking back on it retroactively, at the time it was shocking, but when I look back at it, I'm like, ooh, that was actually really good timing, because then we went to Florida, we saw our family, we hung out, sort of vacation a little bit. I was able to compartmentalize the fact that I had just lost my job and sort of just be in the moment and not really think about it too much. I'm also sort of, what you should know about me is a planner. So for the longest time, I have kept myself in a financially good spot, just in case, because you don't ever know how the tech world is going to play out, and you hear about a lot of layoffs. Like, we had 2 prior layoffs that I had survived. And so in my opinion, it was only a matter of time before the next layoff was gonna happen. And maybe I was on the chopping block, so to speak. And so I've always sort of been like a financial planner. Like, I have plenty in my savings to be able to withstand for a little while, also while, you know, maintaining like some bills that I have to pay, like whatever it is. And to be honest, I feel like after we went on vacation, something in me sort of shifted, and I thought, this is actually a really good time to sit and figure out, how do I restart? How do I do exactly what it is that I want to do? How do I build a life for myself, for my boyfriend, for our future, that I am going to be fully happy with, fulfilled with, like I'm doing what I love every single day. Like, what does that look like? And so myself the space to grieve that job. I gave myself the emotional capacity to sort of come down from that a little bit. And now it's sort of, okay, how do we rebuild? How do we move forward? So something you should know about me as well is I feel like I've lived many different lives. So I've had to rebuild a few times. And I think in the past, I've always sort of rushed it a little bit. And then I would jump ship and I would enter into a job or whatever it is. And I had a travel blog at one time that was doing really well a long time ago. And I just sort of let that die. And so I know how to do all of this. I know how to build all of this because I worked in marketing for the longest time. I worked in tech. Like, I understood. I built my blog at the time from the ground up. I've built social media accounts before from the ground up, from 0 to like 20,000 followers. So I know how to do this stuff. But what I really want is to be slow and intentional with it. And I want to sort of start to build a brand and a new chapter for myself. And I want to do things that, and I want to talk about things that I have experience in, I'm passionate about, whatever it is. And so I want to create resources that are helpful for people. And so I'm slowly navigating what that looks like, and also simultaneously trying to figure out, you know, do I go back into corporate America for a little bit? Do I just fully pursue this full time? I don't know yet. I'm sort of in the thick of it. Honestly, right now, while I'm recording this video, I'm like in the thick of the brainstorming of it all. And it's a little messy and it's a little, you know, we got to figure it out as we go. And I'm sort of mapping some things out, whatever. But this channel I am really excited about because I want you to come along on that journey with me. I want to help people who are in the same situation that I'm in, or I want to maybe even help college age students who are sort of navigating maybe their last couple years of college and they're like, what do? I kind of want to go into the tech world. What does that look like? I have so much advice for college kids now, just having lived what I've lived over the last 10 years at these different tech companies that I've worked at, and then getting my degree and my grad degree in both business marketing and advertising. It's like I have such a well of knowledge that I would love to just share with people. And so I feel like what I'm trying to do is slowly and intentionally build on that a little bit. And it all sort of starts with this layoff video because this is the start of my journey. This is very nerve-wracking, very exciting, but also, nerve-wracking. Like, I don't know really what the next 3 months are gonna look like. Like, we are leaving where we're at. We're in Puerto Rico right now. We're leaving and going back to the States in August. Like, on top of losing my job, I also have a huge move happening at the same time. And so there's a lot of things in flight. And so that's sort of the messy middle, and that's where I want to bring you guys along. And I also want to provide resources that are really helpful and just give you some knowledge and wisdom about how to proceed in like rebranding your life, starting over. What do I do after college? How do I even get my foot in the door tech-wise? Whatever it is, I want to help people design a life that they're passionate about and happy with, but at the same time, do that for myself. So we're kind of in this journey together. So if any of this resonates with you at all whatsoever, I would love for you to subscribe. I would love for you to follow along on this journey. If you have any questions specifically, leave them in the comments below. I will get to every single one that I can. If you are in the process of rebuilding too, know that I am there with you. I am right alongside you. I feel like there's millions of us out here. And so tell me what does a fresh start look like for you? What is something that you're like dreaming of doing that maybe you're trying to pursue now that you've maybe been laid off or you chose to quit your corporate job? Whatever it is, I'm really interested in what other people's sort of journeys are looking like. And I think the beautiful thing about life is that you don't have to have it all figured out today. You just have to start. You just have to start somewhere, and you have to take that first step. I, ironically, have been listening to a lot of Nickelback, and one of their songs, If Today Was Your Last Day, has been like on repeat because I love where it says, the first step is the longest. It says the first step you take is the longest stride, and I fully believe that that is true because I feel like you're almost taking like a leap into the unknown, a leap into like, I don't know what this is gonna look like. I don't know what my life is gonna look like. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what 6 months from now is gonna look like. But if I take the step, then you're kind of taking a bet on yourself, and you're taking that step towards building a life for yourself that you're happy with and you are satisfied with, and you're changing and growing and all of these things. And so I look back on my layoff and I think it was a blessing in disguise. I think it came at the right time. It came at the time that it was supposed to come to, or come at. And I would love to walk through this next chapter alongside all of you. So again, if you're interested in this and this is the kind of content you resonate with, please subscribe, please follow along. I would love to get to know you, and let's start this rebuilding journey together.